Cool. Recording in progress. So first things first, we're on the right. And okay, speaker, AirPods. All right. Can everyone hear us? Yeah?
Yes.
Cool. Perfect. Cool. Nice. Okay, let's get started and we'll see if other people come in, join in. It's nice to see you guys. Today's subject is depression, and more accurately, is can you feel depression? Can you be depressed once you've realized awakening, enlightenment, of course, however you like? And well, yeah, you can actually. Absolutely, you can. Except you will not get hooked on the feeling or the label, rather, with the experience in the body. So there can be any experience in the body, any sensation, any feeling, and you may very well say, "Oh, okay, I feel depressed," or whatever. I'm depressed, or there's something, but it will not mean what it means when you're actually depressed and that you believe you're someone who is depressed or who has depression, who owns depression. That's the difference. It's that there can be any sensation, feeling, experience happening, anything at all. You might not even bother labeling it anything. It's just an experience, just like any other. It's just a moment. It holds no value. It holds no truth. What I will add to that as well is that it's hollow. It's empty, just like anything. And so, okay, we'll see that in a bit. But and so the you don't have to dwell in it. Basically, you don't have to stay in it. It just doesn't matter. It's just part of the experience, but it's not you. It's not what you are. So it just doesn't matter. And so it just doesn't stay. It just goes away. And it's very easy to, I'd say, disregard it. It's just not you. So that's it as far as I'm concerned, as far as giving some words on. But maybe my lovely wife here has something else to say, or not. I don't know.
I'm gonna do a complete tangent because I love tangents. The concept of self-esteem was actually invented. So this is what I think a lot of people nowadays don't actually know, that in the 60s or 70s, 1960s, 1970s, a guy came up, can't remember his name, Will something. He was a psychologist. He came up with this idea of the self-esteem. And with that self-esteem, you have to feel good. You have to feel a certain way. And if we're constantly telling ourselves this story that I have to feel good, I have to feel a certain way, then you're always going to see a void. Because what happens is the brain is naturally always, it's just something that the brain does. If you look at a presentation, if you look at anything, 70% of the time, your brain is going to be looking for the error. It's just what the brain does. It looks for the absence. It's a functioning of the mind. It's not who you are. So I brought up with this history. There is a thing called self-esteem. It has to be nurtured. You have to look in the mirror and tell yourself you love yourself. You have to create someone to love. All of this is an action that you're constantly trying to catch up with. Because in these moments, you're looking at the people and going, well, they're laughing. They're happy. That must obviously mean I'm lacking something. And with all of that, that can build up to what a lot of people more and more talk about is depression. Winston Churchill called it the black dog. There's been books written for children called The Black Dog. So it perpetuates this story of a thing called depression. And my entire family's bought into it. All of my siblings are on antidepressants. And there's big congratulations after decades if one of them's able to get off antidepressant medication. Because we're brought into this story that we have to feel a certain way. And that feeling has to be constant. And if it's not constant, we're staring into an abyss, an absence. Depression itself, if I would label it for the times my mind would say there was an experience, is what was happening is my body was saying, I need deep rest. Because I'd pushed myself too hard. I'd worked too hard. My brain was thinking too hard. I was trying to do too much. My body was trying to do too much. And it brought me to a place where deep rest was needed. And this is where the problem can come with the label depression. You've got to do something about it, right? And again, you're stuck in the loop. You've got a car that has no fuel in it. The engine won't start. And you're telling yourself, well, you've got to do something about it, right? How can you? That makes the abyss worse, right? It makes the experience of the abyss worse. There's no rest in that. There's no resting. For me, depression is something that I think we've mislabeled over time, is that everybody has moments where they're just like, I just need to have a break. I like to call it me days. I had a me day today. I said to Max this morning, I'm not doing shit. I'm lying in bed. I'm going to put a face mask on. I'm going to pedicure my toes. Because that's what I needed to do. I needed deep rest. Depression, sorry, just to catch up. From my way that I've experienced it, it's a need for deep rest. But the story society has around depression,
it's crazy,
is constantly evolving. And pharmaceutical companies will tell you that these drugs will save you. It's great for their shareholders. And I'm not saying don't take medication if you've been told to take medication. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying do your own research. People are biased. Companies are biased. But do what your body is telling you. It's really easy, whether you're awake or not, to be influenced by the collective intelligence. Humans are a herd species. We are literally a herd. We're designed to follow the leader. We're designed to believe whatever we're told. We're designed to have consensus. And to go against consensus, God, it's an effort, really. It feels like if you're having an argument with somebody against something, it's an effort. And especially if you're so just tired. Because that's a key part of what depression is you don't have the energy to do anything. It's difficult to get out of bed. It's difficult to get in the shower. I had weeks, I got everything, didn't have a problem, but I didn't want to get out of bed because I just pushed myself too hard. I'd worked in a job, 15-hour days, working at the weekend. But being awake, it didn't matter. I'd pushed my body beyond its limit and I needed rest. And that's what depression started as. And then the habit formed. Because then it became easier to stay in bed than it was to get out of bed. So there's a complexity in habits around depression. But all of it for me always starts at this concept that society has that you have to have one experience of happy constantly. That's what the experience of life is to be happy constantly. And that depression is the enemy of that. When it could simply be your body saying, oh, God, I need a break. And I just lie in bed for a week and snooze. Watch Netflix, don't think. Stare out into space, going, ooh, I think that was a bird. And before you know it, 3 hours has passed. Sometimes we just need that. That's my rambling.
Okay.
Thomas, you said a couple of points.
Did you want to speak at all, Thomas? A lot of sadness for you when we invent a word, the opposite is created also. Yeah. Depression is unable to be accepted by societal norms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you wanted to add, share, question? No? Thomas? Yeah, you want to go for it?
Hello? Hello, Amy Maxx.
Hello? Hello?
How are you?
Good.
Good.
Good. And you?
Yes, for me, depression talks a lot because, I take antidepressant like this.
Fair?
And yes, when I talk to the psychiatrist,
Psychiatrist. When I talk
yeah,
to a psychiatrist. Yeah.
they see I have a lot of sadness from me, and for it's like really weird because for them, sadness is like a kind of pathological. Patho, it's like a sickness. It's like it's like a sickness. So they take me, they give me antidepressant to fight against the sadness. But for me, it's like the first time I was in a ayahuasca retreat. At the end of the retreat, one of the shamans said to me, "I have a lot of sadness in me, so I have to get rid of it." And I didn't get rid of it. So it's like, like you said about depressed, but I think it's also about the feeling about sadness from me, come depression. But it's like, after awakening, after ayahuasca retreat, after even Kundalini, you know about Kundalini? Yeah, it's like they talk a lot about after Kundalini awakening, we can have like a psychosis, and I
Psychosis.
feel like that also. Uh, so it's like like to talk after several spiritual experience. You can have several sickness, no, not sickness, symptoms. And yeah, we label symptoms and we talk about depression, but it's feel like, yeah, for me, it's like, yeah, I need a deep rest. I don't know if I don't know.
No, I understand. If you don't think of sadness, where is it?
I don't know. In my face. Because people say that
Really?
I look sad. So
Yeah, but look for yourself. You don't think what people think. You look now. Where is sadness in your face? Really?
no,
Right, there you go.
I'm happy. A lot of time, yes, but a lot of time during my when I am in an ordinary state, when I am alone, yes, I feel like a lot of sadness.
Um, I had one teacher, and this is probably one of the few quotes I give of hers, because she didn't actually get much right. But loneliness, in the same way as depression, there is a difference between the label of alone and loneliness. We are all alone in our experience of life, all of us. None of us are integrated with anything else. We are completely alone. Loneliness is an experience that's created by the mind when it goes, ooh, there's no other organism here.
Yeah.
It's literally created by the mind.
In Wednesday, Max says that to me also. It's like loneliness is spread by the mind.
Yeah.
But we are not.
Even that fear, even if you say the word alone, it feels heavy, right? Creates an experience heavy.
It does. It's really funny.
The labels that we give, become important.
Yeah.
And then the difference is when done is, yes, there's no attachment to the label. There's still an experience there. And to be honest, to be able to have a conversation with other people, other bumper cars, as I like to call us, we use that label because it's easy. Because it's an easier way to communicate. This is what is happening. There is depression. When, in the moment I was down, I struggled to talk, I think, for about 3 weeks properly, because everything it sounded kind of weird to say, I love you.
It doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense to me, even now, to say the words, but it's a habitual thing. I love you. I love you.
You smile to him and not to me.
It's a habitual response because love is triggered. But I can't give you love. I can't give you my love. In the same way, we'll look for that reassurance from each other. So Max just gave a classic example. You smiled at him, but not at me. We're looking for that reassurance from others all the time. Tell me I'm okay. Tell me this is okay. And life is life. It can never be okay or not okay. It's the word "how are you" drives me insane.
How are you?
Fine. It's the epitome of English answers, because there's no me to be fine.
Yeah.
There's no me to be depressed, because there's no me. How can I own depression?
You can't.
How can I own sadness? And if I won't own sadness, I don't own depression. If I'm not making it, if there's not a person to make it, where does it exist? You can't find it. Try to find the experiences. Investigate. Can't find it in now, right now. The present is only ever 1 second built on another. But you can never find it. But what you can find is somebody else telling you you're depressed.
And you pay them.
Yeah.
And they give and they give you medicine because you're sad. And you shouldn't be sad.
Yeah. But yeah, also sadness is like from most of the time it's like sadness is not it's not true. It's not true. I I feel okay. It's like you say, how are you? And sometimes people want to ask to reply. It's like, I'm okay, I'm okay. But sometimes we are not okay, or sometimes we feel like weird, so we don't know how to answer to that.
But that's because that's because you believe there is a right answer, because you should feel a certain way, because you should feel okay or not. But you believe it's possible to feel okay, and you believe it's possible to not feel okay. But it's not possible either way. It's not something that stays, and it takes you to be okay or not. But there isn't a you, Thomas. You see that you may believe as much as much as you believe, as much as you think that you're okay or not, but that's just not true. It's just not true. It's simple as that. It's just not true. You're okay or not okay. It's both. None of it makes sense. But if you have to think of it, and then, okay, I'll give an answer. Okay, I'm okay. Blah, blah, blah. It's
Thinking.
thinking. It's thoughts, beliefs, ideas, experiences. I mean, beliefs, ideas, thoughts make up experiences. The experience, I'm okay. The experience, I'm okay-ish. The experience, I'm great. Or I'm sad. And I should fight it with medication.
Yeah, I don't,
You know?
I don't feel, I feel like the same with the medicine. I don't feel
Yeah.
like I am something else. It's like they don't work. The medicine,
No.
they say to me, it's like half of the part of the medicine is like the medicine works for the half, and we have to work for the other part of depression. But I feel like the medicine doesn't change my mind, doesn't change what I feel, what yes. Even the antipsychosis medicine I take for the psychosis that I had is like Yeah, but the feelings I had with my psychosis came back. So I feel like even the medicine for the psychosis is not working too much. So
Enough.
It's what I hear is a lot of somebody telling you how you feel.
Exactly.
yeah,
And you believe them. You believe that. You believe it means something.
I'm going to go off on a tangent on one of my stories. My mum had a climbing accident and landed in a wheelchair when I was 11. 16 months later, my dad died. Through that period, my dad physically had attacked me, and then my brother did. And through that time, people would say one or two things to me. Oh my God, your mum is the most amazing person at the world. She perseveres even though she's in a wheelchair. And my first thought would always be, fuck you. You don't know how hard my life is. Because you're trying to imply that she's something which she's not, because they were not in the home environment. And the other reaction I'd have from people is, oh my God, Amy, your life is shit. Those were the two reactions I had. And it got to a stage 10 years later, when people would ask me about my history, I stopped telling people because they'd have this look on this face of like, fuck, I don't know what to say. Your life is so shit. I'm going to be really uncomfortable and try and change topic. Or they would tell me it's trauma. And all of this was creating a story in my own head of what I should experience, of what my life meant. But there is no past. It doesn't exist. The only past I have is a thought in my head. It's like I'm trying to open a book in my brain, and it's my version of history. And my version of history is always evolving based on the emotional experience I have in my body at that moment in time that I remember. So I'll give you an example. In my head, my dad was an amazing cook, extremely adventurous. My entire family has had to correct me and tell me that my memory is wrong. That my dad actually was very restrictive. He didn't eat like that. And this is what our memory of the past does. And this is what other people telling us what life is does to us. It creates a story in your mind that becomes expansive over the years. And as you get older, it's harder to grasp everything correctly. You won't remember exactly what happened. So if somebody sits with me now, if a therapist ever gets hold of me, every single time I have the same conversation, your mother was emotionally abusive. Your brother was a narcissist. The list goes on. It's always the same story. Because if they can give a label to what I'm telling them, it makes them feel more comfortable. Yeah. Except the difference is, I know it's just a story to make themselves feel comfortable because they're not comfortable hearing my story. But that's not me. That's them trying to be comfortable. It's not comfortable hearing sad stories. It's not. We're not meant to be comfortable. Because who we are, the self, as they call it, we're compassion. If I see someone else in pain, it's reflected in myself. Myself feels that. That's compassion. That's a natural response. I don't want others to feel pain. I don't. And a lot of people would take the easiest ways of what you learn, what societal norm is, and they say you're depressed. Take a pill. See a counsellor. This person was a narcissist. Let's make them a bully.
Yeah. Like
Cut this toxic person out. Cut them off.
like in my story, I said a lot about my parents, my father and my mother. They they have alcoholic problem, and I said a lot about they were depression, they were depressed, and maybe for me it's like my own depression is like the same or the same as I live in a depression environment with my parents. I don't know if I'm clear like this.
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, it's like maybe like you say, it's like a story. I repeat myself a lot of time, and it's not, and it becomes like a statement I'll say about my parents for the time to time. I say my parents have depression, are alcoholic, and my parents are also mm, not. They also multiple. How to say that? They they don't. Uh, we put the label on them, but they are very different personality, character, and they leave a lot of things outside of these two labels. So, and for alcoholism, they get rid of it also. So, not entirely true. It's like sometimes they'll take alcohol, but no, it's not the whole story about them. So yeah, maybe it's like for me, I as a teenage boy, I need some label on them, but it's not yeah. I don't know how to say that, but it's not like the whole story. Yeah,
I understand. It's easier to put a label on someone else.
yeah,
It is. It makes the experience of life easier. Put a label on someone else. Husband.
Ow. My glasses.
Sorry, I just pick you then.
All right.
You don't want to play
sometimes I
today.
feel like
No.
sometimes I feel like the word is we invented words to communicate, but sometimes the word it creates thought and thought and thought, and sometimes I prefer the silence. I look for the silence in my spiritual path because I feel like when we have no word to put on something, it disappears. Or it's like just be yourself. Even say be yourself is like yeah. When people say be yourself, it's like yeah, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be. I'm myself. Yeah, it's like yeah. Words is like it's like create confusion in our mind. Even the mind is like sometimes the word mind doesn't mean anything for me. It's like the ego doesn't mean anything for me sometimes. It's like just something we create to be like more I don't know, complex or feeling bad or something. I don't know. But it's like we create something we don't have, we don't need. Yeah, we create something we don't need to just play to do like.
That's it, exactly. It's labels make life easier.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is also the label itself perpetuates whatever it is, whether it's an experience or a feeling or a story of someone, as if one person can be rounded up with one word. But in that, every time we look at each other, there's actually nobody there. We project to someone. When you see somebody else, what you look at is a projection of that person. And all of that only ever exists in your mind.
Sometimes what you say is like it crosses in my head because it's like, yeah, I'm alone, you don't exist, you just a projection of my own. It's like yeah, I have this feeling when finished. I was everything is like it's a matrix or Truman Show. It's like everything is like a world around us is not that doesn't exist. It's just a creation of our own mind. And I feel crazy about it.
It's true. The mind is not meant to understand.
Yeah.
The mind's trying to understand.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the things I personally struggled with is whether I would ever talk about truth or not. And part of it is because Max and I come from such different angles in talking about truth. We talk about it completely differently. And trying to explain something where your mind is never going to understand and effectively publicly saying to people that, simply put, is yes, you could say we live in a matrix. That's the easiest way to say it. Everything that you see is a projection. There's nobody there.
Okay, sorry, go on.
It is all a projection in your own mind.
But the thing is, for now, you're not seeing that. You're believing your thoughts. You're telling a story, and you're in it, and you say, "Oh yeah, it's a projection. Oh yeah, but it's you haven't seen that. You haven't. It's an understanding. It's a thought.
Yeah.
What Amy, you see, nothing wrong with that. I just pointing it out. What Amy is pointing you to, very gently, in my opinion, it is you believe that you are projecting someone. You believe that there is a someone to project or something to project, and you experience that. But what she's saying, what she's pointing you to, is it is a projection. You are a projection. You don't exist as something real. You don't. And that's what she's pointing you to.
Yes.
It's complete. Yeah. So you can say it's the matrix. It's the matrix. It's this. Sure, fine, all good. I mean, all good. It's the matrix. It is exactly like that. But it's saying is the matrix is yet another projection of how it is, and it's not a matrix. The matrix, the point of the matrix is the matrix does not exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The concept of the matrix is another way for the mind to try and understand.
Exactly. And it's not that. It's just a projection. It's just ideas, concepts, understanding.
Really
it's not that. Sorry, yeah.
Also a really good movie, but
It's a very good movie. Yeah.
For me, when I was teenager, Matrix was my favorite movie. But also the movie with my consciousness is like it tricks me. I feel like I was more conscious about my life. But when I say I am alone, it's like the Matrix uh, creates loneliness, more loneliness in my life. I don't know if I'm clear about this, but
Yeah.
it's like
But again, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the matrix does not exist, and you're saying the matrix gave that. Sorry, I'm getting impatient here. I want you to wake up. I want you to wake the fuck up, man. It's gonna do you a lot of good, a lot. Oh God. It's twice in a row. Wednesday that was harsh on him too. It's all. I mean it with love, Thomas. I'm not having a go at you. I just want you to wake up. It's you believe your thoughts. The spoon doesn't exist. That's it. That's you see that. But that's it. That's the fucking point of the matrix. It's the spoon does not exist.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. There is no matrix. There is no projection of the mind. There is no me. There is no ego. There is no nothing. There is life. So there's everything. There's everything that's touchable. That you can feel, smell. All of that is life. Okay. And in that, look around. There's no fucking matrix. Does that make sense? There's no fucking spoon either. There's the glass. That's it. That's it. Plain simple. That's it. There's imagination of a glass. Yes, that's true too. And that's it too. Yeah. That's
that in itself is the matrix. Is effectively what the matrix story is the matrix story is thinking of what the glass is, thinking what the glass represents is actually it's just a glass.
Yeah. It's just a glass.
I could tell you the story of this glass. Pretty glass, I like it. But that's all in your head. That would be in my head. Then creating a story in your head as a separate bumper car to me. That's a mirror of me. But I'm talking to no one here. But I'm also talking to myself.
It's both at the same time. You can't understand that. It's realized or not. But understanding is pointless. Sorry, yeah?
Yes. Yeah. I remember during ayahuasca, when I took ayahuasca at the end of the night, I feel like my mind is like in duality, in a fight between the Adam Smith and Neo. It's like a constant fight in my mind. And maybe ayahuasca tried to wake me up, but I feel like when I get done, uh, after I wake up, I feel like I dive again in my mind. In my mind is like something like la na 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 na. Ni, 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 ni. It's like a constant fight, and it doesn't understand, and feel like maybe I don't. I wake I need to wake up. Yeah, but I don't
Yeah.
know how to wake up.
You can't do it. You can't do it. You say you don't know how to wake up because you would like to do it, but you can't. You can't. It happens by itself.
But when?
I don't know. Now. You see, your but when makes it like, oh, maybe later. Now. Now. No, now. No, now. Yes, that's it. Now. Yeah. Yeah, now. Yeah, that's it. But I mean it though. It's now. Not after, not later, not. But when is the mind talking to itself? It's a projection saying, oh, I'm not awake. I want to wake up. I cannot do it. It happens. Oh, I understand. It happens. Good. When? Because I want it now. That's why you say, because you want it now. Well,
Yeah.
good. It is now. Now. That's it. This is waking up. This is life. This is it. This life. Yeah. Yes. This life.
Tomorrow,
There's
tomorrow we
nothing
have
else.
1 hour. Tomorrow we have 1 hour to one, and
That's good.
you have to check me up during one
You
hour.
have to wake up now.
Wake up.
Oh, it's tomorrow. Okay, good.
Maybe tomorrow.
Okay, maybe tomorrow. No, now.
No.
It's because you see, because you have an idea of what it is to wake up, of what it would be. Life will change. No, this is it.
No.
And life changes by itself. It's just you haven't seen that. It's just you haven't realized that.
I'm going to wake up tomorrow. I'm going to wake up later. That creates the story of waking up. It creates an action, something to be done, something I can learn.
Yeah, I can do.
All of that is thinking. All of that is the mind. All of that is the mind going. La, 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 la. Your mind can be doing anything. Talking of the story of waking up. Talking of what to have for dinner. Talking of, I want a cigarette. Talking of, I want to go on holiday to Spain. It doesn't matter. That's just the mind doing the mind. You can't stop it. The mind likes to have conversations. You exist, whether your mind thinks about it or not.
Yeah.
You're there, whether your mind's thinking or not. The difference is where the attention is. The thoughts can be so strong. I can have a conversation with a glass. And I'll be here for an hour. All of that is being lost in thoughts. It's the same as talking to anybody about a story of being awake. I can discuss the story of being awake.
Because it means something.
Because it means something magical. It's Disneyland, right?
It's ayahuasca.
So maybe I wake up is like a depression or something. It's like a label, like a word.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Wake up doesn't exist.
Yeah, but who's talking now? That's your mind, not you.
Yeah,
It's your
like,
mind,
yeah,
you see?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's okay. No problem. It's okay. It's okay.
It's a mind fuck because literally the mind is being fucked. The mind can't understand.
Yeah.
So it's mind fuck. Mind can't understand. Mind fucked. Mind
So
is fucked.
it understands on its own. It's just like, oh, but you don't do that.
No, I'm going to poke you now. The mind doesn't understand. The
Yeah.
mind stops giving a shit.
Yeah, that's it.
The mind stops going, I need to understand because I can't. At some point, the mind goes, I can't fucking be bothered. It's a race constantly. And at some point, the attention is on listening, not analyzing what's being said. That's here. That's listening, sorry. Hearing it's not an active thing. To hear is to hear the words. There's no back talk. Back talk is listening, is you're not listening, you're not hearing what's being said. You're focusing on your reply. Your mind is focusing on but.
Yeah.
And that's the story of waking up. It's not being awake because there's no awake to be done. There is no one to wake up. All of that is the mind. And the mind is powerful.
Very.
Yeah.
Extremely powerful.
It's the mind that literally at some point goes, I don't give a shit.
Again, you can't do it.
You can't do it. Your mind at some point goes, it could be, I'm done giving up, trying to understand. It could be the mind saying, I get it. I am not the thought. I am not the body. It's just not real. My internal conversation is not real. It could be anything, but at some point the mind just goes, done.
But it doesn't do it. It happens.
In an instant.
But it's like maybe I for to the mind get the point to I can understand. I don't give a shit. It's like maybe try and try again, and maybe sometimes I feel too tired to the mind doesn't.
But that's not it, because right now you're imagining it. You're projecting it, what it would be. Maybe, no, it's not that. That's your imagination. Does that make sense? What it could be. But that's not what Amy said. You see?
You're talking of thinking, my mind doesn't give a shit. So what you're doing right now is you're creating an image of your mind. You're creating a somebody else to who you are. Your thoughts are going, there is a somebody else to me. So now you've got two me's. And you've got this other me, which is your brain, saying, I don't give a fuck. So in both of those, you now have two thoughts going, I exist. In this moment, you've got these two identities existing, and both of those are thought. It's the mind can never understand. It can't. At some point, the mind stops trying to understand, but you can't. You don't make that happen. It happens from persistence. It happens from pursuit.
Huh?
You can't do it.
Yeah.
But the thing is if you go live life, work every day, have relationship, have babies, work on the treadmill of life, People don't wake up like that. You have moments of seeing the self, moments of peace, and they get given a label. Love, bliss, tranquility, laughter. All of those are labels of the self. Waking up happens because there's something that drives the self to be done. Because life in societal terms is getting more complex. There's more labels that exist. There's more expectations of what life should be. There's more stories of what life means. There's more choices there. There's more experiences and ways to live. And all of these are stories of what life is. And all stories come from the mind. There's no right or wrong. Your mind only thinks there is. It's literally just a thought. All of it is just a thought. You can't think. That's the truth. What we all are doesn't actually think. If there's a judgment, a review, analysis, understanding, it's the mind, because you don't think. It is only the mind that thinks. What you are is a response to the experience of life. That's why I say love is triggered, because I am love.
But you are as a response to the experience of life. Love it burns.
That's what we are. That's what we all are. Hold a baby in your arms. Try not to be triggered with love. Love's there because the self is there. Because it always is. It's the awareness behind the thought. But you can't see that. If I say that, now you're going to run imagine an awareness, thinking about something.
Yeah.
And again,
it's not that. It's not what just wanting you to.
It's a creating something else. Because you can't think. You are not the mind. The mind is labels. The mind is analysis. The mind is what evolved to allow the human species to be. But we're all the same.
It's weird because during 5 minutes, it's like I'm more quiet. It's not my mind is not trying to. It just I just listen to your voice, and it's like yeah. I feel like yeah I don't want to talk anymore.
Okay.
I don't know what to say. It's like if I have something to say, it's like also something to say about the project. It's like another projection or something like that. So it's like, yeah, what's the point? It's okay.
And that's what I talk about when I say persistence. The mind, when it starts the journey, when a decision is made that you want to wake up, the mind fights because it's trying to do its job. It's trying to understand. It has formed and evolved and become this amazing thing to try and understand. That's what the mind does. It's trying to understand. So it's fighting all the time to try and understand. And the perseverance comes because you're waiting for this moment at which the mind is exhausted in trying to understand. And at some point, the mind just is silent. And that's when you hear. And it's you who hears, because it's not the mind trying to understand. Awareness is there. And it's focusing only on the words that are being said. And it doesn't matter where the words come from. It could be a song, it could be a movie, it could be someone awake, it could be someone not awake. But the focus and the attention, the awareness that is you, hears. If it's anything else that is fighting, it's the mind trying to understand the impossible. It can't do it. We don't think. Our mind does. When the mind sees clearly for the first time, an experience is created. The story I saw, and it was beautiful. And there's a chase for the mind to get it back, because, good God, that moment of listening, peace, bliss, don't you want it to exist forever? Don't you want only that? Isn't that all you need? Isn't that what true life is? And it is, because that's who you are. Everything else is the decoration on a cake. Everything else is a thought. This is why I always say the words, everyone is awake, you just don't think you are. Because that's the trap. It's the thought. The thought is the trap. And you, that is awareness, all of your attention, all of you that is awareness is on the thought, and you are living in your head. You live in your thoughts. You live in the thought and the idea that the thought is you, that the thought is real, but it's not. It's just that's where you are aware. In the moment, in the instance. The truth is you are the response to experience. And that is it. And that's why silence of the mind is when you see your mind. Your mind goes, oh, fuck. That's what peace is. That's why people meditate for hours. It's for this moment, right here. That pure bliss, that silence. Because it's you. waking up is your mind finally letting go of the need to take care of this. Stopping having to take care of this depression. The mind doesn't have to look after someone because you're there, constant. You can't get rid of yourself. Your mind doesn't feel a responsibility or an obligation to understand because your mind no longer needs, is no longer driven to understand because it sees that there is nothing. And it's not a nothingness. It's not an emptiness, because that again is a thought being created of a thing that's imagined. We are awareness. And you can give it 1 billion labels. There isn't a label that's good enough for what we are. But it's really, really fucking easy to get lost in the mind's attempt to label it. It's really easy to get lost in the mind's attempt to understand it, that we are. It's really easy for the mind then to take over and keep trying to run to take care of this imagined person. But we are all life. This is us. This is it, as Max says. And why would you need anything else? You only think you need something else. And that's again the thought. It's the mind thinking, I need something else. And that's a thought. And again, it's a trap. It's the trap of something is missing. And that creates something, which is the mind. And it's a trap. And you can get stuck there. But who you are, as Max says, you can wake up at any point because you are always present. Right here, right now, you're there. The only question is whether you're listening or whether you hear. Whether the mind is listening, waiting for an argument, waiting to understand, or whether you hear. And the mind goes, and let's go.
I got nothing to add.
I just thought it's like for you, it's like maybe very hard to wake up people. It's like an act of perseverance because like me, it's like uh, uh, hours and hours of talking, and maybe for Max, it's like tired to wake up people after. But it is your job, but it's like it's like yeah, I don't know, it's like yeah, yeah, I have peace right now, so
Okay.
but thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas.
I have nothing to say anymore. I will listen.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
Otherwise, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
We have questions, things you want to say? No?
No.
Okay. Sure. All right then. Really sure? All right then. Leave it at that.
Leave it at that for this week. Thank you, everybody. It's been wonderful to see you all.
And we'll be doing it next week again. Yes.
Yes.
So next week, same time, if you want. That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you soon.
See you all soon.
All right. Bye.